Let's talk about exploration. In this video, first we talk about why exploration is interesting for human being, then we discuss about the how it should appear in video games to bring fun as much as possible. So, what is exploration? Exploration is the act of traveling through or thoroughly investigating unfamiliar territories, subjects or concepts in order to discover new information, resources or understanding. The human being is born with a fever, the fever of discovery. It's the same fever that drove us across oceans to find new lands, into the stars to find new worlds, or even split the atom to harness its energy. This is the single most important trait that defines us as humans. We spend billions to see into the cosmos just to satisfy our curiosity. As game designers, our job is to create that same need to know in our players, but without the billion-dollar price tag. To do that, we need a checklist. First thing first, it begins with curiosity. What is out there? We have an obsession with the unknown. We always struggle with questions like, what does it look like on top of that mountain? Or what is behind the end of the map? These questions alone aren't enough to push us into a dangerous journey. We need to be more convinced. Which brings the next phase. The promise we need to believe that there is something out there. This is where the brain's dopamine and novelty kick in. Even a small hint of something new triggers our reward circuits. Whether it's a prophecy from the gods, we've been told that there is a Vinland across the seas, or a hunch that if we go west, we'll hit India. The promise is the engine of exploration. The next phase is about necessity. This travel across the unknown is dangerous, so we should be assured that we are doing it for a great cause. If the Vikings had a perfect soil for farming and a peaceful society in Scandinavia, they never would have looked the Golden Land. If it was easy to get ships to Far East Asia for spice business, Europeans would never want to find an easier way by trying west. Think about the last game you quit playing or never reached the corners of the map. Did it fail the necessity test? Was there just no reason to keep walking? Now we are convinced that we need that something. We should consider the possibility. Do we have all the resources which needed for this journey? Enough strongmen to row on a longboat? Enough strong ships to stay in one piece when the seas are going mad? Enough gold to spend on such expedition? If we don't have them, how do we get them? This is about autonomy and competence, choosing how to gather what you need to survive the trip. If all those matters are checked in our list, it's time to check readiness. Are those warriors brave enough to face the unknown threats without fear? Is the captain experienced enough to lead the crew through this danger and make the right decisions when everything goes wrong? If no, well, you'll fail on your voyage. And if the answer is yes, it means you find a new continent. And that's the reward of the whole journey. We can map all these phases into the loop of fun that we discussed in previous video. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. To better understand the contents in this video, it's crucial to know what is the loop of fun and how it works. Now, to better understand how these phases translate into game design, let's review some practical examples in games. When we jump into new game world, we are curious about finding out what's in it by default. But no player is going to discover every corner of the map only for the sake of it. As game designers, it's our duty to make a promise about the mysteries of this new world, to give them clues, passion and needs to go forward and make their own journey. And there are various ways to do it. Subtle cues like lights, sounds, landmarks guide players without hand-holding, preserving discovery while preventing aimless wandering. Games that place visible distant landmarks give players goals to walk toward, turning travel into mini-quests. It can also be narrative breadcrumbs, environmental storytelling like notes, ruins, audio logs that gives you a clue about something in somewhere. Red Dead Redemption 2, when you help a criminal to escape the law, they'll just give you a clue about a place, like a house, at a stash pile of money in it.
Strawberry has a moonshine business somewhere turning a worldly profit. Sure, with the right motivation, you'd find your way. Okay. Thanks again. Safe travels.
In Ghost of Tsushima, whenever you spot a yellow bird, you know that it's going to guide you to something. Whether it's a bamboo cutting challenge, a hot water pool, or a meditation spot. That yellow bird is a dopamine trigger. It's a small, frequent discovery that keeps your brain engaged between the big story beats. In Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, we can see all of these examples. The world invites exploration without forcing it. When you turn the sensor on, it starts to beep when you're near a shrine. Or just by looking around, you can see multiple glowing colors like towers, mining stones, and other things. Nintendo's level design intentionally uses visible landmarks, the triangle placement of train features, and verticality, so players can know that something is out there, and choose routes and are still guided by the environment rather than by UI markers. This design creates a curiosity gap, space between what you see and what you know. Your brain naturally wants to close that gap by walking toward the landmark. Or, in simplest way, it can be some question marks in the map like Assassin's Creed games. It's not a very interesting way, but it can spark a curiosity and assure the players that something is out there. Now the players have been promised, they need to feel the necessity to make a move. In Red Dead Redemption 2, you go to rob those houses and find money only because you need money.
We just need money.
When you play an open world game, you know it's important to push away the fog in your map and reveal it. To do so, it's necessary to sync your view in Assassin's Creed games on high spots or climb up the towers in Breath of the Wild. Besides, you can take a wider view from the top and even find more interesting things in world like the shrines, which give you spirit orbs that you can spend to take more heart containers or stamina vessels. Now that players are convinced to discover the map, they should get prepared. Discovering the map should be a challenge by itself. And it's not only spending time to get a specific location, you need tools or mechanics to get there. Traversal tools are exploration enablers. Climbing, paraglider, shield surfing and stamina mechanics let players attempt ambitious routes and then learn from failure. Sometimes there might be terrain difficulties that require specific items in your inventory. By giving the player the tools to choose their own route, you satisfy their need for autonomy and competence. Think about your experience. Did you freeze when you tried to climb a mountain in Breath of the Wild or Red Dead Redemption 2 only because you hadn't warm clothing in your inventory? It's not enough to succeed your exploration journey. You are prepared well, and yet you need to face the challenge. Having a well-made shiny set of armor doesn't make a knight out of a peasant. There will be various challenges in the journey of discovery and players need to know how to face them. What kind of weapons is the best option to fight a specific type of enemy? How to approach a camp full of monsters, when to use your items, and how to decide the best way to overcome the difficulties. Players can overcome these challenges only when they engaged enough to the game mechanics and systems and know exactly what to do. Exploration is enjoyable when the environment and its challenges match players' skills, not too confusing and not too trivial. Finally, when you reach your destination, when you climb a difficult mountain, when you find your way through darkness, it's time for your reward. Remember, rewards must fit the player's effort. You cannot put a chest with the most common item in it at the end of a hard route full of high-ranked enemies and expect players to just accept it, or let them to find the rarest items in a random ruin when they're casually wandering around the map. Nothing kills a player's fever of discovery faster than a bad reward. One smart way to make the rewards more balanced is to use micro and macro rewards. In Breath of the Wild, small finds like crop seeds, weapons and ingredients give steady dopamine hits, while shrines and towers provide meaningful progression. There are some practical tips and advices that helps us to design our exploration more thoughtful. Use breadcrumbs and affordance. Use lights, sounds and colors to guide the players without forcing them by UI elements. Layer your rewards by using micro and macro rewards. Allow for safe failure and risk. Let players experiment without harsh penalties so they try unusual routes and learn the space through play. Make the world readable. Use contrast, scale and sound to hint at interesting areas without explicit markers. Tie exploration to players' power. Unlocks or tools that expand traversal make earlier areas feel worth revisiting. I guess this is it for this video. If you're new to this channel, I'm a solo game dev documenting my journey to make my dream game. And here, I mostly talk about the beauties of game design. If you're interested in game design, go check out my other videos. And if you found them useful, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. In the next episode of this series, I'll talk about making fun through action.